Okay, welcome, Sommer. Hello.
Thank you. Hello.
It's so nice to see you.
So good to see you. I'm very happy to be here with you, even though I am actually here in my home.
Virtual hug.
Yeah.
I know, it's a different feeling. It's okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about you.
Okay, well, my name is Sommer. I am a yoga teacher for both adults and children. I have my 200-hour certification, certified through Yoga Alliance, and I also was certified through the Little Yoga House on teaching the fundamentals of yoga for children. And I'm also a mom with 2 children of my own, 2 wonderful boys. One is age 7 and the other is age 4.
You got your hands full.
Yes, yes, they do. They keep me busy, and yoga helps with that.
All those hours you needed for yourself. It was time for you.
Yeah, who knew when I started yoga way back in college that that I was training for my future as a mom as well.
That's a really good way to look at it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us a little bit about your yoga instruction, where you are and what you do.
Okay, well, I am currently teaching adult classes at the Haven in the Dripping Springs, and it's an amazing studio. It's very cozy and warm and friendly, and it has amazing teachers, and the owner, Amy Price, is also amazing, and she just does so much to make it a great place to teach and to take classes. And because of the current stay-at-home orders that we've had lately, it has been closed for a couple months, and it is reopening this Monday. Yay! So we are all very excited to be back to teaching, and the students are excited to come back. It'll be a little bit different because we have to take precautions to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe. So the class sizes will be a bit smaller. They'll be size 6 or less. And, you know, there probably won't be as many hugs, and we'll, people are being asked to bring their own mats. They do have mats there that you can use, but if you use one of the studio's mats, it has to be sterilized right after, and same thing with props. So it's less hands-on than maybe yoga would be in normal times, but it'll still be an amazing experience, and I'm really excited to get back.
You and me both.
Yeah. And then I teach kids yoga with a company called Just Be Yoga, and that's an amazing company started by Sarah Harbour, who has many, many years of experience working with kids, and we want to honor each child and give them an opportunity to express themselves through yoga. We make the classes really fun, and there's a little bit of everything in those classes, so kids really get to move their bodies. They get to use their imagination. They get to stimulate their senses and build their sensory awareness, and they also practice mindfulness and some relaxation at the end. And oh, it's just amazing seeing little kids really being free to move their bodies and seeing them be excited to relax at the end of a class. Because I don't know, your kids, probably like my kids, they don't like usually voluntarily just relax and like lay down on the floor and gaze at something and take deep breaths. but we get them to do that in yoga, and they do it like willingly. They like it. So I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you hit the nail on the head. My kids are not, they will pick relaxing very last. They they don't want to do it usually.
Yeah, like both my kids, they usually go from running around and yelling to passed out. Those are the two
Yes.
levels of energy, and so to see kids like happily, you know, blowing feathers in the air on their backs, or imagining they're looking up at the stars in the sky and just happily laying there for a good 3 to 5 minutes. It's magical.
Mm, yeah. It does sound so nice. I'm like, I want classes like that.
Yeah. Oh, the kids' classes are super fun. Someday I would love to teach an adult class doing what we do with the kids, but have it all adults do it. But you'd really have to, you'd have to get adults that are like, okay, we're just gonna let loose, because the kids are so good about that. And a lot of times adults are so busy. Oh, do I look silly doing that? Or so it would be fun to have adults just being silly.
Oh,
We
I
did
think,
that in my teacher training for the kids yoga, and I loved it. It was so fun.
oh, yeah, I think I would definitely be down for that. So if you decide to do that one, sign me up.
Okay, I'll work on that. I think we could have a good time. People will like it
Yeah,
once we get them loosened up.
you know, that's something we can work on, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like improv classes, where it's scary at first, but when you just let yourself be free and be in the moment, it's very enjoyable and freeing and fun.
Oh, yeah. That's when the magic happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that you have a couple of demos for us today. Do you have a few things to show us?
Yeah. So I was trying to think about like what would be things that moms can do either on a quick break. Maybe you just find a little bit of time for yourself, or maybe you're feeling overwhelmed and you need something quick to help you change the way you're feeling, change your mood, change your energy levels. So I wanted to start with a little bit of breathing. You know, if you're finding yourself feeling tense and needing to calm down a little bit, you can go through this it's a very simple series of steps, and it's not super long. So I would start by getting comfortable in your seat and really sitting up tall. So you want your spine nice and long, and your chest is lifted and your head is lifted. And take a big inhale and exhale. And then this time, we're going to lift our shoulders up on the inhale and just lift them up and crunch them. And then exhale. Let them drop down. Let's do that again. Then one more time. And that helps you when you're stressed out, your shoulders start to creep up and you start to really tense your neck. And that helps you get your shoulders out of your ears and dropping down your back. And then you can close your eyes for this part, or you can leave them open. It depends. Some people are comfortable with their eyes closed and some are not. And I'm going to keep my eyes open because I feel like that would be kind of weird if I'm just here with my eyes closed. But eyes closed, or just kind of soft gaze downward. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And then just a big sigh out through the mouth, like, and again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And one more time, in through the nose And out through the mouth. And then we're going to continue those long, slow, deep breaths through the nose and out through the nose. And then while you're breathing, just start to bring your attention inward to your body. And we're going to scan the body to see if we can find any areas of tension. That by paying a little bit of attention to them, we can release that tension. So continuing to breathe, starting at the crown of the head, try to relax that area. Moving down, relax the face. Check in with your jaw. Are you clenching, holding on to anything there? And continue to scan down the body, checking in with your shoulders. Have they begun to creep back up towards your ears, or are they still relaxed? Scan down the arms, check in with your hands. Are they loose? Are they relaxed? Down through the upper body. Just seeing if there's anywhere where you feel like you're holding tension. And release. Continuing to scan down through the hip area. Clenching your bottom, unclench, relax. Anything that might be tight or holding tension. Moving down the legs. Past the knees down, all the way down to the feet. And just stay there with a few more deep breaths. Telling yourself it's okay to relax. It's okay to let go. One more big deep breath in. And a big sigh out through the mouth. And you can slowly open your eyes. And see that it doesn't take a lot of time, but it gives you a little bit of opportunity to check in with your body, to slow down your mind, slow down your breathing. And I just always feel calmer even with those few 3 to 5 minutes. And so, yeah, I would just suggest anytime that you feel like you're racing around or you need to center yourself, that would be a good exercise.
Oh, yes, I definitely loved that one. I didn't notice that I had shoulder tension, and then you pointed it out, and it was like, oh, let them melt.
Oh my gosh, all day. Like, you can start out the day like this, and by the end of the day, it's like, and you have no neck anymore.
Yeah.
And when you do that with your body responds. So you begin to feel that relaxation. Your muscles feed it back to you and say, oh, we feel better. And I always, especially my jaw too, I like to do that before I go to bed at night as well. It can help you relax for sleep and make sure that you're not really tense before you go to bed. Hopefully then you'll also not be clenching your teeth while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
A lot of us have that problem.
I do. I know I do.
Yeah. Even my kids, I hear them grinding their teeth in their sleep. I'm like, you're too young to be stressed. So, yeah.
I know when my son gets frustrated, I can hear him like grind his teeth, and I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No, it's just a big area where we hold tension. So, taking time to loosen up the jaw. And so, and I have some poses that I wanted to do that are like, I suggest for different kinds of energy levels, and you can do them just like on a quick break, or if you were wanting to have a longer period of time, you could do all of these in in a series. So they can each be taken separately, or you could do them all together. So the next poses I would suggest for if you're feeling kind of sluggish or tired, or you've been sitting a long time, these will help get you kind of feeling strong and get some heat going in your body, and they should wake you up. They're a little bit, well, they're much more strenuous than what we were just doing. And because of that, so I just want to say, like, they're really only for people who you know are of course cleared by a doctor to exercise. If you have any illnesses or injuries and your doctor says you shouldn't be doing yoga, please don't do them. And even if you are cleared by a doctor to do any of the poses, always just listen to your body, and if anything just feels wrong, and definitely if anything is causing pain, immediately stop. And you never have to go, people sometimes think like yoga, you have to be really flexible and you have to put your foot behind your head, otherwise you're really not doing it right. And that's not really true at all. Like, it's for everyone's body, and you should listen to what feels good for you when you do them.
I love that you say that too, because it's so easy for us to try. I mean, maybe I'm the only person, but it's so easy for us to try and go, I'm going to do this and this and this every time. And then it's like, listen to your body. It's like, okay, I needed that reminder.
Yeah, because a lot of people, that's one nice thing about practicing at home, is if you are that kind of person who compares yourself to others, that is a difficulty in some classes and just in general. You don't need to compare yourself to how someone else is doing the poses and to try to compete with them or do as much as they are. And even for just yourself, your body won't be, it just has its ebbs and flows, and one day you may be able to do something and the next day your body might just say, no, I don't want to go that far. And so that's just natural. And so that's why I always say, just listen to how you're feeling and the signals that you're getting from your own body.
Yeah. Very smart advice. I love it.
And that's another thing I love about yoga, is it's adjustable to everyone. Okay, so say you've been I'm going to adjust the camera. Say you've been sitting for a long time, or you're just like, oh gosh, I don't know how I'm going to make it through the rest of the day. It sounds maybe a little bit strange that that's when you want to push yourself to work hard, but in some cases that can be invigorating. So 3 poses that I like to do in that scenario. The first is plank pose. And I know some people are like, I don't want to do plank pose, but it really is like an amazing all-around exercise and strengthens so much of your body. So I would suggest, if you're a beginner, you want your shoulders over your wrists and you want your fingers really nice and wide and pressing into the mat. So you want to even check in with your hands, make sure the center of your hand is almost like suction cupping the mat. And if you're starting out, you can do plank on your knees. So this is strengthening and invigorating, and it's a great place to start. So you really want to push away from the mat. You want to pull your belly button in. A lot of times you'll see the booty goes up in the air. That's not what we want. We want a long line, if you're on your knees, from your knees through the top of your head. Now the next step, if you want to go further, is to tuck the toes and lift up. And then you can hold here for as long as feels comfortable. You can take a break, come back into it. If you prefer movement, like you get bored holding poses, you can always take some push-ups. So it's really kind of what you're feeling. And then Another option for plank that'll help, see like my heart rate's building up and breathe in a little bit deeper. Some people, if you have issues with your wrists, or if you just want to work the plank in a different way, and especially your core, you can do forearm plank. So you come down to your elbows. You want your elbows in one line with your wrists. Again, pressing the fingertips into the mat, and then holding here. And you're gazing maybe about 6 inches in front of your fingertips, and you're holding. And you can take a break and come down. You can come back up. But they're just really super strengthening. If you're like a competitive person and you like those challenges, you can see if each day you can go a little bit longer. There's like some people that plank for 20 minutes and
whoa,
that's really great for them. I don't go that far. And I think there's like a world record holder who does it for like 8 hours or 12 hours, and that's amazing. But really, you can do it for as little or as long as feels good for you, but it gets you, I'm awake now, like breathing, heart's going. So I like plank. Another one for feeling nice and strong, the warrior poses are really great for building heat and getting you feeling strong. And so I like warrior 2. So you want really wide feet, and then the front foot points to the front of your room, and you're facing the side with your hips. And then the back foot is at about 45 degrees. And you want to make sure that the front heel is in line with the center of the back foot about. And of course, obviously, these are all based on like general body terms. You can make any adjustments that work well for your body. And then you want a big, deep bend in that front leg. And we're working towards getting the knee parallel over the ankle. You don't want the knee to go past the ankle. So it can be behind the ankle, working towards getting it straight, but not going past. Okay? And then from here, you take your arms to a T and really stretch out through the fingertips, open up that chest, and then you turn and you gaze over those front fingertips, and you just think about like what an amazing warrior you are and how strong you are. You do the mental build up too. And you can hold this. It's much like the plank. So you can hold it for as long as you feel like it's a good challenge. And if you really like movement, you can add in, you can drop that back hand, lift the front palm and come up and kind of reverse that warrior. If you want to come back, you can also bring the back arm and reach, and that'll challenge your core. And you can do those back and forth. Just for those of you that don't, they like to like statically hold poses and would rather move.
I think you hit the nail on the head with warrior 2 though. It does something to you mentally when you're in that pose. You just feel like the strongest person in the world. I do at least. I'm like, oh, look at me.
And I especially love it for women because, like, you know, you hear the word warrior used for men a lot, but women are totally warriors. And I like that, like, this pose reminds us to embrace that inner warrior in us.
I agree.
And so, along with embracing like an inner, I don't know, entity, but my third pose is goddess pose. So hopefully, I don't know if this makes you feel like a goddess, but it makes you feel strong. So you, again, have a nice wide stance. And this time your feet are turned on the diagonal. So they're 45 degrees if that's something that works for you. If not, then like maybe opposite corners of the room. And then you bend the knees and sink down nice and deep. As deep really as you can go, like, because that's what's going to challenge your thighs. And you don't have to go this deep.
I was going to say, you're making it look easy.
Yeah. So really, and actually you'll feel it in different areas if you're holding it down that low or like this. So it might be nice to explore that. And again, this is a great one. If you hold this for a long time, you'll really feel the heat building, because your legs, your thighs are the biggest muscles in your body. And so if you get those working, you're gonna really start to feel the heat and feel more energetic. And so if you want to add movement to this, you can do arms overhead and take some lat pull downs or cactus arms. You can do some stretching with your shoulders. And another one, which can add in a little bit of balance, you can lift one heel, you can lift the other heel, you can lift both heels.
That looks awesome. I'm so glad you could do that. I'm so jealous.
It's definitely more challenging. So yeah, you can play with those poses, but like, I love that they help me. Like now I feel like I'm awake. I can go. I can survive the rest of this day chasing my kids around.
That's what we all need.
Like this guy, it's pretty hard to keep up with him. Oh wow, they're both coming. Okay, say hi real quick and then go see Daddy. Say hi. 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 Okay, bye. No, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. This is part of being a mom, right?
It is part of being a mom.
I'm sure, like, maybe somebody can hear my cat meowing in the background.
Well,
my daughter had a meltdown.
It's not like the dog's going to stay out of here either.
Yeah, it's life. It's okay.
Layla wants you to know that the next few poses, I would say, like, if you start feeling really stressed and frazzled or maybe angry, I like to do poses that'll kind of take you out of letting your mind go to these other places and force you to either focus or look at things in a different way. So balancing poses, inversions, and hip openers. So let's start with an inversion. So I like inversions because they literally make you look at things a different way. So anytime you hang upside down, you're literally turning your world on its end, and everything looks different from upside down, right? So this is wide leg forward bend. You can just walk your hands down till they come down to the floor, and then bring your head towards the ground. I'm gonna show you, and then it's kind of hard to talk to you while I'm doing it that way. I might turn around. But it's really nice because you'll get a nice stretch in your hamstrings. It stretches your legs, especially if you just did all those invigorating leg poses. That's a really nice stretch. But like literally, hi Christy, like you're upside down now. So it just makes you look at things in a different way.
Which we all need, especially right now, but always. I feel like we can always all use a new perspective. It's just good for you.
Yeah, it's also great if you're like stuck on a problem and you can't figure out a solution. Like it makes you look at things differently, and it can spark creativity. So
I need to do that all the time then.
Yeah, I mean, you can always, there's a lot of inversions. It depends on your comfort level and your probably your level of athleticism, but like if you're comfortable like doing a headstand, that's another great way to, you can do it against the wall to get upside down and stay there for a while. I'm not going to show that because it's not for everyone. Okay, so what was my next one? Oh, balancing poses. So I know you said that you have difficulty with balancing poses. And
yes, I always get so dizzy.
And I hear that from a lot of people. There's some of my favorites. I think because like from being a kid, like falling down is funny. And so I laugh at myself when I lose my balance, because like how often in your day are you like willingly just like falling over? So in a safe way. But
Yeah.
and so tree pose is a good one to start with. And you know, if you're just starting out and you're not that comfortable with your balance, you could just do a kickstand. So take one heel to the other heel. If you want to go further, you can bring that up to the calf. And then, you know, you'll see yogis bringing, let's see if I can do this, all the way up to the thigh. You just don't want to put your foot against the knee, because that can put some pressure on the knee. You can keep your hands at heart. You can grow your branches up, be even more like a tree. And a big thing with balancing poses is to check in with the standing foot and make sure that all of the toes and the heel are all equally pressing into the floor. And you can look at a single spot. It's called your drishti, to help you maintain your balance. But you know, maybe I'm feeling wobbly, I fall over, and I just laugh. So I think the concentration that it takes to balance, get your head out of wherever it was. And then if you are laughing, that's just adding some humor to your day, and you're not taking yourself quite so seriously as maybe you were before that. Okay, so one other pose. Layla, are you gonna do the pose? It's not a dog pose. I can scoot her over. So they say a lot of tension is held in your hips, but definitely if you're like sitting a lot at a computer or something like that, you do get tension in your hips, because they're what's holding your upper body erect. So you don't want quite such a wide stance for a yogi squat. It's maybe a little bit wider than shoulder distance. And then you just sink down. And if you don't feel comfortable, you can keep the hands down on the mat. You can take them up. You can use your elbows to press the knees wider. And you want to still be engaging your core. Scoot! They can't see me, Layla. And you want your hips dropping down while you're still engaging your core and lifting the chest. And again, you can stay here as long as you like. You can take stretches, whatever allows you to stay in the pose, but it's really good for you, this one. And maybe you just like watch TV like this. If you really love yogi squat, yeah, you can do a lot of things with it. And you know, maybe your heels don't make it all the way to the floor. It's still good. So those would be my suggestions if you need to blow off steam or kind of reframe yourself.
We could all use that.
Yeah, I mean, in these stressful times, I think it's always good. Anything that brings you back to the present moment.
Absolutely.
So I have a couple other things I wanted to check in with you on time. And
we have plenty of time.
Okay.
I am abundance of time. Remember, we create our own time.
That's
do your thing, girl.
Well, and I have lots of energy now because I was doing those energizing poses. But this portion is to help you relax. So maybe you used a lot of energy during the day. You were rushing around. You were on your feet a lot. and you need to relax, you want to maybe work on being more flexible. So a lot of these may be familiar, but getting a comfortable seat, always kind of checking to make sure you're sitting on your sits bones and your chest is lifted. We're always trying to have a nice long spine, not a straight spine, but a long spine in yoga. And then I would raise the arms up. If you're comfortable bringing the palms together, lift the chest, look upward. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Inhale one more time here. And then bring one arm down and get a nice stretch in the side. You can turn your head to look up if that feels good. You don't have to. You can look down. You can go deeper. Just going nice and slow, getting that stretch. Checking to make sure that your hip's not coming up off the mat. And then when you're ready to inhale up, come back to center, and then you would do that on the other side. Okay, that's an abbreviated version. So another nice way to stretch the spine are cat-cows. And a lot of times you do those on your hands and knees, but you can also do them seated. So on your inhale, you puff the chest, roll the shoulders back, look upward. And on your exhale, you arch the spine, reaching back with the center of the back, looking down. And you move with the breath. So on the inhale, the chest puffs, the head looks up, shoulders drop back. And exhale, round the spine, reaching back through the center, looking down. And you can do as many of those as feels comfortable. It feels really good.
I love that adaptation of it too, because the people who don't have great knees, you're still able to do it if you're sitting. That's perfect.
Exactly. It doesn't put pressure on your knees or your wrists. And maybe you're in an office and people will think you look strange if you get down on your hands and knees, but you can sit in your desk chair and do these. And people will be like, wow, that person is practicing good health and movement. They're taking care of themselves while they're sitting. Okay, so another one which is harder to do in a chair, but you actually can do this one in a chair. But since I'm not in a chair, I'm going to show you the seated on the ground version. So you can start with both legs out. It's always nice to start balanced. And then bend one knee and bring the foot in alongside either the other knee or maybe even closer to your hip. And again, always want to lift the spine. And then you're going to grab the outside of the knee with the opposite hand and turn to the side. The other hand, if it reaches back, can come behind you. If you're not as flexible, it can come to the side. But lifting the chest and turning. And twists are great for loosening up the spine, for helping you, again, get that change of perspective. And if you're tight and you do this, your body's going to be like, oh, wow, why haven't I done more of this? And then when you're ready on the exhale, you unwind. And you would do that on both sides. So I will not do that on both sides. Another one that's like more something that you would see kids do, but it's also a transition to get back down on your mat, is you give yourself a big hug, and then you just do some rocking and rolling. And that's another one that where like you just feel silly and have fun. And then eventually you end up on your back. And so one more twist that you can do is you take your arms out to a T and either closer to your chest or with the feet on the ground, you lower the knees to one side. And you get a nice stretch along your side. And you can turn your head to the opposite side that your knees are on if you want to lengthen the stretch. I'm not going to do that because then it'll be harder to hear me. So yeah, and just in this pose, you want to make sure like your shoulders not popping up. You want to let your shoulders relax into the mat. If your knees don't come that far down, that's fine too. You can put a block underneath your knees for support if they don't come all the way down. And it's just nice to rest here while you're getting that stretch. And then the last pose, it's everybody's favorite yoga pose, is Shavasana, where you've done all your work and you give yourself that time to just lay and rest and sink into the mat. And you know, sometimes people that are really active or have a hard time relaxing, they try to skip that step, and that's probably the most important pose for people like that.
It's Shavasana?
Shavasana, yeah, because it's so important to, even if it's just a little bit of time, to give your body and mind permission to rest. And if you do that, you know, it kind of goes with like people who have problems sleeping. Part of it is their mind doesn't know it's okay to rest. And so it's good to, while you're awake, give yourself those opportunities.
I completely 100% agree with that, because I'm one of the people who would like try to skip it and was like, it's not that big a deal, and you know, would kind of feel antsy when everybody else was still laying down. I'm ready to go, finish my workout. But I tried to, you know, let go and be mindful of the moment. And there has been multiple occasions where I have figured out answers to things or come up with ideas in that pose.
That's true. You need that quiet space for the new ideas to pop out. And I've had teachers say the pose that you struggle with the most or that you least desire to do is the one that you need the most. And that's kind of how I feel about Shavasana. Like the people that just pop up and I don't need to Shavasana, I'm like, actually, you probably need it the most.
Yeah. I was one of those people. I can do it.
So yeah, those are the things that, you know, there's a lot of different things in yoga. So those are kind of the little buckets that I would suggest for moms, and like you could do each one as needed, each grouping, but you could also go through all of those together.
Fabulous. Okay, so I know you've given me a lot of good ideas, but please share with others, like how can you integrate these throughout your day? Like give us some examples of what you do.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of I'm not as good at setting structure as I would like to be. But for people who are, I mean, it's always good to set time in the morning. It's good also to set time before bed, but if you're going to do it before bed, you want to focus more on like the breathing and the stretching. If you get your heart rate up too much before bed, it can interfere with your sleep. But if you could do it a couple hours before bed, that also can help with sleep. Exercise, if you find time to exercise during the day, you will sleep better. You don't want to like be doing like running like for 7 miles right before you want to go to sleep, you know, but definitely at some point during the day. But I would also say, like, you know, for those moments where you're like, oh man, I'm getting so frustrated. I need to do something, otherwise I'm gonna like snap at someone, or I'm not sure, I can't find a solution. I'd say also you can turn to yoga and just take a few minutes for yourself. Give yourself permission, give your body attention. Sometimes we're always up in our heads and we're running around through our day and we're not paying attention to our body, and our body needs to move. It needs to do what it does best. And if you don't give that to it, it will build up, and you won't be at your ultimate your best energy level and your best ability. So sometimes it feels like, no, I just got to keep thinking about this, but sometimes actually taking a step back and not thinking and just doing and being is what will help you move forward with these things that you want to achieve and get done. So yeah, taking little breaks, taking time, being mindful of your energy levels, being mindful of how you feel, and being okay with the fact that we're not machines and we can't just keep going and do everything without, you know, refilling the tank. We have to give ourselves permission, even if it's just a little bit of time, to take care of ourselves. So I think that would be my suggestion.
That's a wonderful way to explain it. Refuel our tank. Yes, I love that.
Yeah. You with your car, you can't just keep going. You always have to give it what it needs, and we're not like cars, but but we do need to take care of ourselves to be able to achieve all of the things that we really want.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, with everything, it's a great analogy because I am picturing it. You know, we have our organs, and that's like the parts of the car, and you know, they can definitely be paralleled. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's the little things that help you have that energy, and especially I feel like as moms, we give so much of our energy away that you need to take the time to rebuild and take energy in toward yourself. And I grabbed my Yeti because also water is very important.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. So speaking of families and giving, what is your favorite activity that you get energy from or you're happy with doing with your family right now?
So it's interesting because I've been talking to other moms and hearing a lot of moms being like, oh gosh, it's like the summer is twice as long now because, you know, we've been homeschooling and I'm running out of things to do with my kids. And for me, I just find that the times that we have most fun as a family is not necessarily when we plan these big activities and we have these big plans, but more when we keep things more simple and spontaneous. And so for me, I kind of have two things. One, and it depends on the weather. So like right now I can hear it thundering outside, but
yeah.
But earlier today it was really nice. So when the weather is nice, I really think it's great to get outside. And I think with kids, you know, they have such a sense of imagination, and especially with littler kids, they're learning how to explore the world using their senses. So I just love to get outside, and you know, right now maybe people don't have a lot of access to the outdoors, but hopefully they have maybe a small space like a yard, or maybe they can at least walk around their neighborhoods. And so I love to like take time to use each sense and look. Can you see any animals? Are there birds in the sky? We have lots of squirrels. So, oh, tell me if you see a squirrel. To observe plants, you know, how many different plants can we find? And then use all the senses. So it's great for mindfulness to have kids stop and like maybe close their eyes and listen and see what they can hear and name all the different things they can hear. Also with your eyes closed, what can you smell? What smells are around you? How does the air feel when the wind blows on your skin? How does it feel when the sun hits you? So these are all things that you can do. You don't need like a big old park, or you don't need to go to the beach. You can do just anytime, anywhere outside. And it really helps build mindfulness and opens up your world. Maybe it feels cramped, but when you start really opening up your senses to everything around you, the world just feels bigger. So I like to do that with kids. I'm also big into gardening, so we do that kind of stuff in the garden. But if you're stuck inside because it's a rainy day, or maybe you don't have access to a lot of outdoor space, I really like, you can do fun yoga stuff with kids. So you can do yoga outside. I'm not saying that you can't do yoga outside, but some fun yoga stuff you can do inside is just let the kids be really creative. So it's not like yoga where it's like, let's hold this pose, and then let's hold this pose, and let's do a perfect flow. It's more things like, think of an animal. How would you do a pose for that animal? And you can do some of the more traditional animal poses, but also kids are so great at just like creating their own poses, and that's really fun. Another thing I like to do with kids is yoga freeze dance. So you play some music and everybody's dancing, and then when you pause the music, instead of just freezing the way you are, you freeze in a pose. So you come into tree pose, or whichever pose hits you at the moment. Or you can call, as the adult or whoever's pausing the music, you can call out poses and have them go into that pose. You can have balancing competitions. We've done like tree offs, or who can hold the tree pose the longest. That'll also just keep them busy when you need them to, like, everybody freeze. Okay, do tree pose. Okay, who can do it the longest? Oh, and then the one other thing that we did that was super awesome, that like went way better than I ever could have imagined, is I told my older son, he was really acting out at the moment and really trying to get attention and kind of taking attention away from his younger brother. And so I had him teach the class. And I think that's a great opportunity to give kids, it's amazing how they'll step up to that. They like being given the opportunity to be the one in charge. And he did like this amazing class that ended up lasting, like, after like 45 minutes, we had to eventually be like, okay, I think we'll have to do a second class later. But yeah, he really ran with it and he loved it, and we all enjoyed it too. So yeah, that's a fun one.
Oh, that's such a cool idea. You diverted his attention in a positive way. I love it.
Yeah, and it's so fun to see like the things that they come up with and how creative they can be, and the things that probably they have inside that they've been wanting the platform to share. So
yeah, absolutely. Everybody wants to be heard. I mean, that's what we all want, right?
Yeah, and then as the adult, sometimes I just want someone else to tell me what to do. Yeah. So it worked out great for me too. I'm like, I don't have to think of anything. He's just telling me what I need to do.
Yeah, you're like, that works out.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, those are great. I love those. Okay, so this is, yeah, this is something that I think is just great. The whole imaginative play is just, there's just been study after study that has, I can't even name everything because it's just all in my brain as a huge long list. There's so many wonderful benefits to it. So that's really smart.
Oh, and yeah, I think especially depending on the age, the younger they are, even like, it doesn't have to be like this big, like we're acting out a play to do imaginative play, but you can just give them little opportunities, short, like That's why I like the freeze dance, and come up with your own animal, because you can just do that for like 5 minutes, and it gives them the opportunity to start exploring that and thinking in different ways, and then it still fits within their attention span.
Yeah. And it gives them the opportunity to press the reset button too. Like if they're
Yes.
having a problem, you can restart. You can start again. It's okay. It's a fresh start. So
yeah, we all need that.
Yeah.
Totally.
I know some days I wish there was a restart button.
Oh, I know. I need it for myself too sometimes, but that's the nice thing, is when you can, if you have the tools to be able to recenter and reframe, it gets less painful when you need that restart button.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could recommend one purchase that you have made that's $100 or less, it could be for you, for the kids, for the house, for the family, whatever. What is the most recent purchase that you've made that you feel has made a huge difference?
Okay. So can I cheat and give 2 things?
Absolutely. The more the merrier.
So this first one is not at all something that I've bought recently. It's something I've had for a long time, but it's something that I think is great if you do yoga and you don't have one, or if you're starting out yoga, and it's cheap. It costs $10 to $20, and it's a yoga strap. And yeah, they're really long, and they're very sturdy. And I feel like a lot of people who feel intimidated to try yoga, some of them feel like, I'm not flexible enough to do yoga. And the truth is that you don't have to be flexible to do yoga. Yoga is how you become more flexible. But this strap will help you, especially if you're really struggle with flexibility. So, you can use it in a lot of ways. You can stretch your shoulders by reaching it. I can't actually I can touch, but some yogis you'll see they're like clasping
holding their hands back there.
Yeah, but you don't have to be able to do that, because if you have the strap, you can just go as far as you can go, and then you have something to hold on to, and then you're getting that beautiful stretch. And then also, if you have tight hamstrings, like a lot of runners or people who just generally have tight legs. Can you see me? I'll turn this way. So, I can reach my feet, but a lot of people, you tell them grab towards your feet, and they're like to here. But if you have this strap, you can put it around your feet, and then it adjusts to however far your flexibility is. And then you can get a really nice stretch without feeling like you're not going far enough or you're struggling. So it's cheap. You can get it anywhere where they sell yoga supplies. And so I think the yoga strap is awesome, especially beginners or people that don't feel flexible, or if you do yoga, you should just probably have one. You can find a million ways to use it. And then the one that's more close to your question, the best purchase I've made in a while is my newish yoga mat. It's made by Jade Yoga. And what I love about it, I feel like there's a lot of yoga mats out there, and it's great to have a yoga mat. And if you don't want to invest a lot of money, you don't have to spend a lot of money on your yoga mat. But if you are willing to spend a little bit more, I think this one cost me, it's their Harmony version. It cost me about $80. So it's a little bit pricier for a yoga mat, but I really love it because it's heavy, so it does not move around on the floor. It stays in place, so I feel very sturdy and safe. And it's thick, so it's got a lot of cushion for my joints. And if you're laying in Shavasana, you feel more comfortable. And it's very non-stick, so like sometimes I get all sweaty and I'm trying to do down dog and my hands are slipping, and then I can't relax if that's happening. So this mat is great. That doesn't happen to me. And it's an eco-friendly brand, and so that's something that I also really love about it. So yeah, Jade Yoga Mat Harmony. It doesn't have to be this brand, but it's if you really are going to do a lot of yoga and you want to treat yourself, it's a great buy to get a really good yoga mat that's really nice and heavy and thick and non-slip.
Yeah, it sounds completely up your alley. I love it. Yeah.
I really love it. And I love the color too. It's like this dark shade of purple. It may look black, but it's purple.
It's like this pretty plum color is what
yeah.
it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so people want to connect with you. Where do they find you?
Okay, so there's a few ways to find me. Instagram is a good social media tool for me. So it's literally my name all in one line. So it's at Sommer Cachadorian. I know it's a long name, but I'm assuming you're gonna post how to spell it. So I won't spell it out, but I got it from my husband. And so it's just my name, all one long line. And you won't find any other Sommer Cachadorians probably out there. And then another Instagram site is the Just Be Kids Yoga site. So that's a great place to go to see a little bit more of what we do. And if you want to reach out to us, you can send us messages through that site. You can reach me by email at Sommer, SOMMER, at justbekidsyoga.com. And then our website is being revamped right now. So in the next few weeks, we will be relaunching our justbekidsyoga.com website. So check that out in the next few weeks.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's we had a cool website before, but I think it's going to be even cooler now.
Yeah, it's a new one. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for chatting with us today, Sommer. I feel like we now have all the tools to energize ourselves and relax ourselves, and we've enhanced our well-being today.
Yeah. I know it's super yogi, but namaste, Christy. No, this was really fun. I always love talking to you, and I really appreciate your mission for helping the moms out there. And so hopefully this can be another useful tool in their mommy tool belt.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Have a great night.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye.